When I'm turning on an animated movie, I'm expecting cool animations and humor like this.
My fist hungers for justice. That was my fist.
But sometimes animated studios hide strong messages and try to tell us things with scenes like this.
I have always been proud of you. It was my pride that blinded me.
Here are 6 times that studios have tried to tell us something with their animated movies. Level 1 might seem lighthearted, but by level 6, you'll never see this movie the same again, so brace yourself. Like and subscribe if you love Tai Lung. We had to start off this list with a scene from one of Dreamworks' classics. Kung Fu Panda may have given us animals performing martial arts with timeless voice acting and amazing fight scenes, but there's no way you can ignore this truth bomb that it dropped on us towards the end.
There is no secret ingredient. It's just you.
Jack Black even used a very calm voice to say it. Considering that he's always shouting or using his voice to its comedic strength, he did let the audience know that he was being serious with this change of tone. The funny thing is that the whole thing about the secret ingredient was mentioned earlier in the movie when Po was still trying to figure out how the heck he was supposed to be the Dragon Warrior.
The secret ingredient is nothing. To make something special, you just have to believe it's special.
Po was just as confused as us when he heard it for the first time. But in the final battle, when we hear him use those same words from his dad on Tai Lung, it all makes sense. We saw him go from being a hopeless fanboy to defending the valley against the fiercest kung fu warrior. And he did this all without some special magic from an empty scroll. All Po ever needed was to believe in himself. And China may not have pandas doing fly kicks, but this message felt like it could be applied in the real world too. There is no magical item that'll make you better. There is no cheat code to getting the things you want in life. It's just belief and the effort that comes with it. I mean, Oogway couldn't have said it better.
Nothing is impossible.
Now for something more serious. The concept of death is a theme that you wouldn't really fancy for a children's animated movie, but lately these studios have been pushing the boundaries. Pixar gave us Coco, then doubled down with Soul, but Dreamworks' Puss in Boots is where we see a message that was meant for beyond the screens. In Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, we meet our favorite kitty swordsman as life, well, death, tries to humble him. He's down to the last one of his 9 lives, and he embarks on a fleeting quest to wish them back and cheat death once again. But this felt too easy, too predictable, and rather pathetic. So instead of choosing the easy way out, he decides to face death. And as he does, he says this.
I know I can never defeat you, Lobo, but I will never stop fighting for this life.
Personally, I would have taken the wish and got more lives back. Heck, I would have made myself immortal. But Dreamworks was trying to tell us something with this movie. And if you missed it in the first half, this scene sure does put things into perspective. As humans, we don't have 9 lives, but some of us live more carefree than Puss ever was. And by the time we realize that we've been reckless and we've taken things for granted, it's too late. But more times than not, it really isn't. And a real wishing star may not exist to buy us more time. So the moment we realize our mistake, we should start being intentional with how we deal with our lives. Don't let it waste away thinking life might be kind enough to give you more time and more chances. Because it might not. And if there's anything karma hates more than not giving people what they deserve, it's a person who's no longer ignorant about their mistakes. I mean, look at how death reacts when Puss wisens up.
I came here for an arrogant little legend who thought he was immortal. But I don't see him anymore.
For this next level, we have to go back to this oldie but goldie. One of the first times Pixar's made an attempt at an animation ended up being a Marxist-themed story about insects. There were the physically stronger but fewer grasshoppers, and then the tiny but many ants. I guess you already see where I'm going with this. When Hopper is stuck worrying about that one ant that dared to defy him, the fact that the other grasshoppers don't see the problem with this makes him completely furious. And then he goes on to drop one of the hardest lines in animated history.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Now, coming from a bug, you might not think about it too much. Now, instead of a grumpy grasshopper, try picturing a billionaire saying this. And if the elite and rich fit the role of the grasshoppers, who do you think the ants are? It's really the children's animations that are getting the strongest socioeconomic messages in their movies. In life, the rich are outnumbered by the average citizens, and oftentimes the luxury they enjoy is at the expense of these people. And by the end of the movie, we see Hopper's fears actually happen.
Ants don't serve grasshoppers. It's you who need us.
The ants learn their worth and decide to do away with them. If the commoners ever feel fed up with life, this movie tells us just who is responsible and how to get rid of them. Quite a powerful message in a movie aimed at kids in elementary school, isn't it? However, this next movie has a more modern message to it. When Mitchells vs. the Machines came out, it made us wonder why nobody made a Terminator-esque movie sooner. This movie had everything. Actions, explosions, killer robots. I'd like to see the T-800 survive 5 seconds against this monster. So you know how these robo-apocalyptic movies go. It is always with some guy trying to be the next Bill Gates. But this sentient AI doesn't just want to take over the world. She nearly started crying when she was telling Sam about her problem with humans.
Did you know 90% of calls from mums get ignored?
You know it's pretty messed up when it takes a robot to spell out our biggest flaws. As a grown-up, it really makes you pause and go, damn, she's not lying. And if self-reflection seems a little too hard to do at the moment, this movie has the solution for that.
I canceled your plane ticket to college.
You what?
We literally see how hard the Mitchells find it to get along. A tech-savvy teenager and her boomer dad? It's a miracle how they manage the service under the same roof. Although the whole robots putting humans in cages is fictional, our dependency on technology isn't. It's so bad that it eats away at our relationships. Everybody's on their phones these days, and with our attention fixed on our screens, it takes away our focus from things that matter more than anything technology could offer. It's pretty ironic how the whole point of all these advancements is to make life easier and bring us closer to people. Yet it's done everything except that. If anything, it's caused people to be more distant from one another. Trust me, almost every robot animated movie has something the writers were trying to tell us. WALL-E is another movie about robots that makes you pause and think every few scenes. It's not on the head like Mitchells vs. the Machines, but they did illustrate the downsides of technology in another way. I mean, look at the people on this ship. They look like they can't run for 2 minutes without getting a heart attack. And considering that this movie came out in 2008 is wild. It predicted how our dependency on technology would slowly make us less and less functional as humans. As a race, we may not be floating in hovercraft yet, but it seems we're on that path. At first, it feels like innovation and efficiency, but from Captain John's perspective, you see just how much he misses the old version of him. Humans are meant to inhabit the Earth and enjoy it, not get stuck on some space voyage and drink milkshakes for the rest of their lives. That's why when John finds hope that they can return to Earth and Otto doesn't agree, he lets out a sentence that seems a little too heavy for a children's movie.
I don't want to survive. I want to live.
If you used to look like a fit bodybuilder, but simply just existing took that from you, you'd be bad if someone told you you can't have it back. That's exactly what we see happening here. Just because something seems less stressful and hassle-free doesn't mean it's better. The good times of life feel the way they do because it's earned. But when everything is handed to you, it's hard to have a sense of worth for things. But perhaps the most important thing Dreamworks ever had to tell us was in a movie about caped vigilantes and villains who turn over a new leaf. Everybody loves a good superhero movie, but Dreamworks knew they couldn't have a generic story if they wanted Megamind to be a classic. So they gave this story more twists than you could imagine. They made the bad guy good. They turned the harmless dude into a supervillain, and as for the guy we all thought of as the superhero, well, they made him retire.
I'm sorry. I really am. I'm done.
Yep, they made Metro Man hang the cape in the most pitiful of ways. Lying to the world that you're dead is a very cowardly thing to do, but it's really disrespectful to the citizens of the city named after you. I mean, he legit pulled this stunt on the same day that he had a monument unveiled in his name. As crazy as you think this is, we later learned that Metro Man planned on giving up sooner than this.
No one said this hero thing had to be a lifetime gig. You can't just quit either.
What felt like a strong sense of responsibility actually felt like a burden. The world obviously needed a hero, but to Metro Man, it felt like nobody even bothered to ask if this was what he ever wanted. Well, heroism is something he knew as a kid, but he never felt as if he was at liberty to pick another path. What the world saw as a superhero doing his job was really an individual slaving away and choosing others over himself. So no matter how upset people may get, choose yourself first and your happiness. And don't even bother worrying about how people will deal with your absence, because the world will adjust, you will get replaced, and if you never make that daring move, you'll be burnt out, and all you'll be left with is regret. There you have it, 6 times that we are being told something with an animated movie. Which message stuck with you the most? And can you think of any other movie that felt like this? We want to know all your thoughts in the comments section.